Greetings, welcome back to my channel. And before we get any further, I would like to just say thank you for 200 subscribers. And in today's video, we will be making homemade barbecue pizza. I'm just going to show you how I cut my chicken. So I used 2 chicken breasts to do the entire pizza, and what I did is just butterfly it and then slice it in strips and then into cubes. I personally prefer having smaller chunks of chicken on my pizza. You can cut yours to how you like it, but I like having mine smaller, so this is why I do this. After which you'll just season with whatever seasonings you like. I just use chicken seasoning and paprika. It is chicken breast, therefore it's enhanced accept flavor. She's very accepting and receptive of flavors, so you don't need to do a whole lot, and you can do this an hour or two before you actually want to make your pizza. The dough is pretty simple. It consists of salt, sugar, flour, yeast, and some warm water. Kneading the dough for 10 to 15 minutes or until your wrist hurt, which is also a clear indicator that your dough is done. You want to use between room temperature or lukewarm water. You do not want hot water because that will kill your yeast. So when deciding how warm you want your water, you can probably just stick your finger in there and it feels like warm but not hot. That's good. Or you can just stay with room temp just to be on the safe side. So what you want to do is just gradually add water until your dough comes together. Once it has done so, you want to begin kneading for that 10 to 15 minutes until it looks like the next clip. After the dough has been sufficiently kneaded, we are going to allow it to rest and rise in a warm place. I like to use my oven. So you just want to grease the container and allow it to rest in there for 2 hours or more. It all depends on how much time you have. The barbecue sauce is pretty basic. I used sugar, honey, ketchup, and some soy sauce to create this, and the quantity is this much because we're adding sauce to the pizza and also to the chicken because it's a barbecue chicken pizza. You definitely do not need a lot of oil for this. About 1.5 tablespoons would be enough, and then you're just going to add your chicken to the pot. Allow it to simmer, fry. Is it frying? It's simmering, it's cooking. Allow the chicken to cook. And because this is chicken breast, it's not going to take very long to cook. So you can measure this by just watching your chicken and see once it becomes white. White is not a nice word to describe chicken. You don't want pale chicken. But once you can realize that it's cooked through, you may add your sauce. You could remove the water, but me couldn't bother. Removing the water from the pot would have allowed the sauce to stick faster and better to the chicken as opposed to having the water in the pot, the excess liquid. So because I had all this excess liquid in my pot, I allowed my chicken to simmer a bit longer just so that the sauce would be coated better on it and it would stick better. This is my dough after 2 hours. My yeast is a bit old, so that influences how much my dough rises. So if you have fresh yeast, your dough will rise more. However, it still works. Anyways, I was talking to my mother and I was distracted here. And if you look at the dough, you can realize that some parts are too thin. So what I did was just molded it over back on itself and started over. So after I've gotten that new shape, I'm now trying to work it to fit the size of the pan. I put it on my knuckles so it's easier to stretch and it does not rip. After I reach somewhere, I start forming it onto the pan rather than the shape by itself. So what I do is just place the dough on the pan and start working it, pushing it to the sides and stretching it as much as it can. This is a 14-inch pizza pan, which is an extra large pizza. So the dough makes an extra large pizza or 2 medium pizzas, or how many small pizzas you wish to make. But yeah, so what I'm doing is just working the dough into the pan as best as possible. After you achieve that, you want to poke holes. I went a bit overboard here, but you don't have to poke as many holes, but you want to poke holes into the pizza base crust so that it does not puff up while it's baking. So it would rise like bread and anything else, it would rise. Just for little added flavor, you don't have to do this, but I melted some butter and I cut some garlic in there before melting it, so it's like garlic infused butter. And then I just rub that onto the crust of the base of my crust before adding the barbecue sauce. You do not have to do this. After which we are going to apply that same barbecue sauce to the base of our pizza. So you just want to apply until it's completely covered, or how you like it. And now we'll begin assembling our pizza. I like to start off with cheese. Then I have my veg, which is just some sweet peppers and purple onions and chicken. And I just repeat these steps until I have no toppings left. You can use whatever toppings that you like, whatever you prefer, but these are my go-to. This is very optional. What I do is I add a little egg wash to my pizza crust just because we're using a home oven and not a traditional pizza oven. So I like to give it that extra push into browning. And most of the toppings look enough now, but remember, so the pizza crust is going to rise, so it's going to look normal. Things are going to melt together. So don't be alarmed if it looks like this. You are going to bake your pizza for 15 to 20 minutes or until these sides are brown, everything is melted, and it looks beautiful. This brings us to the end of yet another video. I do hope you enjoyed, and remember to keep munching.